A Turkish pilot launch prepares to meet a tanker at the mouth of the Bosphorus, the busiest and most dangerous shipping channel in the world. Today, pilot Captain Giresunlu is to take yet another ship on her way from the Mediterranean to the Black Sea. These vessels are often more than 100,000 tons. They're always difficult to maneuver and take more than a mile to stop. At the channel's most congested point, they have to pass through the city of Istanbul. An accident here could have disastrous results, and Turks know it.
Here, about 14 million population, daily crossing, 1.5 million people crossing from one side of the Bosphorus to the other side. And the smallest vessel loaded with oil is about 100,000 tons. Suppose not only collision, suppose engine problem, rudder problem, technical problem of the vessel. It will be one of the greatest disasters of this century.
For more than 1,000 years, Istanbul and the Bosphorus on which it stands has been the boundary between Europe and Asia. It used to be called Constantinople and was the centre of Byzantium and then the Ottoman Empire. Today, the danger from oil tankers passing through the city is one of the few issues which unite all Turks.
Yes, of course it's dangerous because too many people is living here, and the Bosphorus is very important for Istanbul and Turkey, you know, historical place.
It's very dangerous. We are afraid when they pass because they are very big and they make noise, and you feel inside the house. You don't need even see the tank and you feel it.
The Bosphorus has always been strategically important and the subject of international rivalries. Turks call it the Turkish Straits, the Russians the Black Sea Straits. It's a winding channel 17 miles long and in places only half a mile wide. It's the only link between the Black Sea and the Mediterranean and the only sea route the former Soviet republics can use to reach the outside world. Captain Vitaly Kuchin is getting ready to enter the Bosphorus aboard his 88,000-ton Russian tanker, the Academic Pustovoit. He's just come from Spain and is on his way to his home port of Novorossiysk to pick up another load of oil and bring it back through the Bosphorus. It's a passage he's made many times before. The tanker's course will take her only a few feet from Turkish shores, but her passage is guaranteed by an international treaty. The Montreux Convention of 1936 allows merchant vessels complete freedom of transit and navigation by day and night under any flag with any kind of cargo and no formalities. But those who framed the treaty couldn't have guessed how much the traffic would change in 61 years.
When the Montreux Convention was signed before the Second World War, supertankers hadn't been thought of. Now, the Bosphorus handles 3 times as much shipping as the Suez Canal. Every year, 50,000 ships pass through this channel, which at times is only a few hundred meters wide. And as the traffic has been increasing, so have the risks.
With constantly growing traffic, accidents were inevitable. The worst came in 1994 when a Cypriot-registered tanker, the Nasir, collided with a Cypriot freighter, the Shipbroker, at the northern end of the Bosphorus. The Nasir's oil tanks exploded and both ships caught fire. In all, 29 crew died. One ship crashed into the shore in a built-up area. There was widespread pollution, and the city of Istanbul itself was only saved because of the direction of the wind. After the Nasir fire, the Turkish government drew up traffic regulations. But because of the Montreux Treaty, it couldn't force ships to take pilots. Many Turks are now convinced that because there are so many Russian oil tankers passing through the Bosphorus, the treaty is irrelevant.
Nobody cares about the international treaty because our lives are much more important than international treaties. No Turkish government can let the Russians go through the Bosphorus as they want and as they please.
But they have that right in international law.
Yeah, and we are going to stop them.
The captain of the Russian tanker, the academic Pustavoit, who'd agreed to have a pilot, invited Newsnight aboard.
That's a relief.
Both the pilot and captain have been through the Bosphorus before in tankers and are well used to discussing technicalities in a common language.
Sometimes you must approach a little bit more starboard. Sometimes you must make it far away a little bit more to the port side. About the turning, being can be safe. It's changing depending on the current condition. Starboard 15.
Право 15.
This is the narrowest point on the Bosphorus. The pilot has to be alert to the unpredictable currents and the limited manoeuvring space.
This area in the Cape of Kandilli area are dangerous place for the strait. It is appearing some problem about the maneuvering, and then they are proceeding to the shore. So they are aground or crashing some house, and that house especially are very historic house. You cannot calculate their value.
In the next 5 years, tanker traffic in the Bosphorus is expected to go up, according to some estimates by as much as 10 times. The new oil fields in the Caspian are the source of this anticipated traffic. Recent finds around Baku in Azerbaijan have made the place a new Klondike. But the question of how the oil can be brought to Western markets has still not been settled. The Russians would like to take it through an existing pipeline to Novorossiysk on the Black Sea and then ship it through Istanbul and the Bosphorus. Turkey is insisting that the oil should be shipped through a pipeline across its own territory. This mother and daughter, who live along the Asian shores of the Bosphorus, know from experience what the risks are.
There had been 2 accidents and something worse can be happening. They must put guides there. They don't take guides. They don't want to pay the guides. They are so stingy. It's unimaginable.
But the Russians don't want to have any control. They want to have international free passage.
Yes, but free passage. What if we face all this danger? What if the whole city is burnt? What will the Russians do to us? Will they help us? Nothing.
Some politicians in Moscow have been talking about pushing their ships through the Bosphorus regardless. For the Russians, with their Black Sea fleet, the treaty which guarantees free passage can't be overruled by the Turks.
They are choosing only one way. They are choosing the way of bringing new limits and closing the straits. And this is unfair, and this is completely unacceptable for Russia.
If, as a result of Turkish national pride, control of the Bosphorus was Turkish, absolutely, what difference would that make to Russia?
Well, it will make a lot of difference to Russia, and I think that my government does not give a slightest chance for that.
What's at stake is control of the new oil supplies to the west. Turks are using an environmental case, perhaps to forward other interests. And as the debate continues, Captain Vitaly Kuchin leaves the Bosphorus on his way to pick up another 80,000 tons of oil from the Caspian pipeline.